Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Business at 9 with me, Sumita Karir. Our top story on the show is from the state of Karnataka. Well, very soon, moviegoers in Karnataka could be paying no more than 200 rupees for any movie of their choice. In fact, the Karnataka government has brought back a price cap on movie tickets, pegging them at a maximum of 200 rupees across all theatres and multiplexes for all language films, and that includes Kannada as well. Now, this move, formally notified through an amendment to the Karnataka Cinema Regulation Rules 2014, it aims to make cinema going more affordable for customers and boost footfall for regional films. But while moviegoers may cheer, the film industry, particularly filmmakers, are warning of a possible revenue loss. In fact, there are rising operational costs, especially for multiplex chain. So the question that we are asking tonight on the show is this a ticket to trouble, or will it revive the silver screen experience for the common man? Ladies and gentlemen, on the show we are joined by Akshay Rathi, who's the director at Ashirvad Theatres Private Limited. We'll be going to him in a short while from now. But let's first go across to my colleague Jude, who's tracking this big developing story right from the beginning. Jude, bring us up to speed with this directive and all that it entails, and what's the sense that you're getting from industry watchers on how this will pan out for the multiplex industry in Karnataka?
Well, it seems like Chief Minister Siddaramaiah may have finally made good on a budgetary proposal that came in earlier this year, and that is to cap cinema tickets at all screens, including multiplexes in the state of Karnataka, to about 200 rupees per ticket. And this, remember, includes local body entertainment taxes. We're given to understand that all multiplexes and single screens in the state will have to comply shortly. And that the government is doing this move so as to ensure that, like you rightly pointed out, footfalls are higher and that there's an increased patronage, they hope, for local language cinema. But that having been said, the move does apply to all movies screened across all multiplexes in the state itself. But interestingly, it could be a cue that Karnataka may have well taken from the state of Tamil Nadu, which has pretty much had this price cap on cinema tickets for the last 18 years or so. Remember, it was in 2007 that Tamil Nadu first capped cinema tickets in the state to about 120 rupees per ticket, including local body entertainment taxes. It revised that further in the year 2015 so as to make sure that this was a base price and that back then the proposed GST and local body entertainment taxes could be added on, so to speak, so as to ensure that a ticket in Tamil Nadu pretty much comes to anywhere around 200 rupees, including, of course, internet convenience fees as well. Now, why is this being done? It's important to remember that as far as both Tamil Nadu and Karnataka are concerned, cinema is pretty much a common denominator. Personalities like Kumar Bangarappa or, Ambarish, for that matter, top Kannada film stars have gone on to, pursue successful political careers. Even in Tamil Nadu, personalities like J. Jayalalitha or M.G. Ramachandran, better known as MGR, two popular chief ministers, were also film stars back in the heyday. As is Rajnikant, another cult personality, also a movie star. So cinema seems to always have this socio-political and socio-cultural connection with both these states. And both states have ensured or have, aspired to ensure that insofar as accessibility to the cinema is concerned, it should be a given. And that's why you're seeing many years, in the case of Tamil Nadu at least, and now with Karnataka, price regulation so far as cinema tickets are concerned. That's also meant that certain value-added services, much like, let's say, PVR Gold, are absent from the state of Tamil Nadu for the longest time owing to such regulations. Whether that will happen in Karnataka or not, we'll have to wait and see. But for now, we're going to see film tickets capped at 200 rupees per ticket as far as Karnataka goes.
Right, Ju, thank you very much for putting that story into perspective, for putting all of those facts into perspective in terms of what's really happened in the past with respect to the state of Tamil Nadu. Let's, ladies and gentlemen, take this topic across to our guest who's joining us tonight. Joining me now is Girish Wankere, movie trade analyst, and Akshay Rathi, director at Ashirvad Theatres Private Limited, on whether this is a necessary intervention for consumers or not. Let me first come to you, Mr. Rathi. While definitely this is great news for consumers, but is it business friendly? What is the kind of impact that you expect to have on the business that you have in the state, given the fact that footfalls have failed to revive, and of course real estate prices are shooting through the roof?
Ma'am, I think it's a slightly unprecedented move given the trade's point of view. For the simple reason that for a sector that doesn't have any grants, any rebates, any subsidies, any tax breaks, any kind of financial support from the government, in fact, it's one of the most regulated sectors there is. Uh, to kind of, have a ticket pricing cap on a sector like that is just tightening the nose on it. And it's not like companies like PVR have been delivering supernormal profits year after year. They've been, I mean, it's a public limited company and their numbers are out there in the public domain. Now, it's not like the cost of the real estate where these properties are is being capped. It's not like the salaries that are paid to the teams that run the cinemas is being capped in any way. Those keep increasing year after year. And to then on the revenues have a cap, I think is a bit unfair, and especially for properties where a serious amount of capex has already been deployed into building these properties and making them world class. I think then to do it is really just shooting a growing child premature. And I really hope that, and while I completely believe in the concept of making cinema affordable, I think it needs to be a proactive step taken by the industry basis data analytics rather than a government imposed cap. Because, of course, all of us have tried to, understand that India is a volume market and that movie going needs to be financially accessible.
Right.
But then we've also seen that movies which people don't want to
Right.
watch, even if you price them at 100 rupees, they don't turn up. And for movies that they really want to watch, you can price
Right.
them at 400, 500 rupees and they turn up. And that's how these numbers are at play. Basis data,
Right.
not any whim that we want to charge ridiculous amounts. So that's
Right.
where things are.
Right. Right, Akshay, but we also have to look at the core issue with the movie industry, which at present seems to be that content is not really up to the mark, which is why we've seen the movement of people or the shift of people from big ticket cinemas or big ticket movies to perhaps even OTTs and regional content. Remains to be seen whether this is going to give a boost to regional content and filmmakers. But let me take that point across to you, Mr. Vankere. Can lower ticket prices compel people to go to the movies, and has this directive, in your knowledge, worked elsewhere?
Yeah, of course. People are price conscious and they would happy to have a 200 rupees cap in Karnataka. But as Akshay has said, I will second it to it, because when there is a cap for a multiplex as well as single screen, obviously a person has a choice and he will go to multiplex rather than going to the single screen, because he's getting the ticket at the same price. So actually it is inferior or derogatory, or in fact you are making the single skins die also in this bargain. That is the first thing which comes to my mind. Secondly, if multiplexes like PVR, if they have around 261 screens in that particular state, if they are investing in the luxury, and that too with the proper, with the elements like 4x or 4DX or IMAX screens. So IMAX screens needs an intensive capital investment, and multiplex has a luxury which they are providing. So it is totally an option for the audience whether he wants that luxury or not. So when the pricing is concerned, it has to be the party of the stakeholder. It has to be the decision of the exhibitor, the distributor, the filmmaker, who is the part of that cinema, and not the government. They can't keep give a cap to a vertical which is purely ungranted for what Akshay is saying, and I totally agree with it. It is the pure multiplex's decision to offer the amenities, and people have choices. They can go to cinemas, and the third important thing with is, if you are keeping a price cap on the tickets, what about beverages? If I am not getting my money from ticket, I will try to increase the value or the prices of samosa and popcorn. So because I have to compensate for my investment. So again, that is a wrong
Right,
practice.
Mr.
So I
Vankere.
don't think this is what government has
Right.
been doing, and imposing the cap is a right move.
Right, sir, but why can't the government come to the aid of consumers who want a better movie experience, who want lower ticket prices, given the fact that you yourself said that popcorn and beverage prices are soaring through the roof? So this is definitely going to come across as a breather for some of those consumers and movie goers. But let me ask you, Akshay, in terms of the strategy now that you might be planning ahead, if this passes the legal test, what kind of moves do you think this is going to lead to? Are you going to give more preference to perhaps fewer big budgeted films, more regional films?
Ma'am, in fact, I truly believe that this will not just impact the cinema exhibition sector. A step like this, will make the feasibility of creating premium screens that are luxurious or formats like IMAX, 4DX, which are first sellouts before the regular screens. When these
Right.
can't be made, the real estate
But
sector
Akshay,
will suffer.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Right.
and when the real
Right,
estate
but Akshay, when you
sector
look at
suffers,
the directive, when you look at the release, right, Akshay, when you look at the release, it essentially says that the government is looking at giving A, relief to consumers, and B, getting regional filmmakers more accessible to theaters. In fact, giving a push to more regional films.
ma'am, the more smarter way to give relief to patrons and to moviegoers would be to actually, on behalf of the government, subsidize the movie-going experience. I mean, we'd welcome any kind of grants, any kind of tax breaks, any kind of relief in taxation, any kind of relief in the compliance and regulatory compliances that we have to go through. If all of that can actually be shaved off from the costs of running a
But
cinema, we'd actually have the ability to pass some of it
Akshay,
on to the consumers.
right. But Akshay, why should it not come from theatre owners themselves when it comes to, pricing tickets slightly more affordable? And government subsidies are not really sustainable. They are meant for industries that are fledgling to perhaps give them more stability. And of course, subsidies have to be tapered off after a while.
Ma'am, while I agree, so it's not like I'm asking for subsidies. I'm just saying that for a sector that has absolutely no support financially or in terms of policy, this kind of unnatural price capping mechanism imposed by the government is unfair, is what I was trying to say. So nowhere am I saying that we should get subsidies or rebates or tax breaks. Let it be the way it is. But then let the business through data decide what its pricing mechanism should be. Let it happen through the law of demand and supply in a consumerist economy rather than the government in an ad hoc manner saying that, okay, from tomorrow, you'll have a 200 rupee price cap. For IMAX screens, that capex has been invested in. Having a price cap of 200 rupees is like shooting them point blank in the head and making sure that the feasibility of running those screens goes out of the window. So it's a very compartmentalized view that the government seems to have taken. Sure, it's a populist measure. Sure, it will, so to say, make movie going more accessible. That's an easy way of saying it. But I can also assure you, man, that for movies that people don't want to watch, that are substandard, even 100 rupee ticket is something that people won't spend and go to the theaters for. So ultimately, it's great
Absolutely, and
content
this is
that
something that you're
decides
pointing
whether
out to
people are
what I
coming in or
said
not.
earlier, Akshay, that content needs to be fixed. Content perhaps needs to be fixed, and definitely, Mr. Vankere, this is going to definitely impact the fortunes and profitability of theatre formats, which are bigger, more expensive, more experimental, but definitely is expected to give some relief and some push to regional cinema. Let me ask you just a couple of final points, Mr. Vankere. Now, several states have implemented this move. In fact, my colleague Jude was also mentioning the case of Tamil Nadu that have already implemented these caps, but those caps came in at a time when occupancy was good, so the cost could be absorbed. Is there a contagion risk that you sense? Do you sense a scenario wherein northern states could also introduce these price capping policies?
Yeah, there is a sense because everybody is talking about prices, but when you talk about the prices, should also see what that cinema is offering you, what sort of luxury they are offering, what sort of experience they are offering, what sort of amenities and quality of sound or quality of techniques they are offering. These are all your choices. We can go to single screen also and have a monosteric sound, but we can go to Atmos sound as well, and that is purely our choice. So definitely with after Telangana and Andhra and Tamil Nadu and now Karnataka, people in other states will also start talking about it. But the thinking that it will safeguard the regional cinema, these are all not at all,
Right.
I think, the answers to it. But
Right.
the answer is you need to understand the exhibitor's point of view also, and of course it is a
Right.
pure
Absolutely.
populist view. But we need to have a balance
Right, Mr.
between the
Bankruptcy.
businessman. It has to
Right.
have a
Right.
right vertical to
A middle
understand the
ground
business
needs
of
to be
the
arrived
exhibitor.
at, Mr. Wankhede. Right. Right. So a middle ground needs to be arrived at wherein both the consumer's point of view and, of course, the Cineplex owner's point of view should be kept into consideration. But the bigger question is, will this directive stand the test of courts? That remains to be seen. On that note, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining us this evening on Business at 9. Ladies and gentlemen, time